What's going on, ladies and gents? This is Bento with another Steam controller playtest, and this time I'm going to be trying it out on Hotline Miami 2. Now, Hotline doesn't exactly have the most complicated of controls. In fact, I think there's only like 5 or 6 buttons you get to use. But I thought it'd be a good chance to try some of one particular function that I never really did use in any of my other games, and that's the outer rim functions for the trackpad. But before I go over that, let me again explain my overall control scheme. So I have it sort of typical of Hotline for the gamepad controls. The left trigger is still to zoom, and that's my left trigger. The right trigger for me this time is actually to hit or to attack. So it'll be to shoot if you have a gun, or just melee if you have a melee weapon. The left bumper is as it is normally, which is to pick up items. And I also have that functionality for the left grip and left click on the left trackpad. The right trackpad is just to rotate my character around, and clicking it also is actually the interact button, and it's also the finishing move button when enemies are down. The face buttons aren't actually used at all, except for the A button, which is again to interact. Left thumbstick obviously to move, and I believe that's it. In case I forgot to mention, the left grip is to pick up items, and the right grip is also a interact and finishing move button. So as I mentioned, I actually really liked using the outer rim function for this game because I thought it helped with trying to attack enemies and killing them a lot faster. So how I use it is that anytime I hit the outer rim of the right trackpad, it'll actually do an attack in whatever direction I'm pointing it at. So it's really nice because if I'm facing one way, I don't have to really rotate the camera, and I can just pretty much instantly melee someone who's like right next to me, or shoot someone who's right next to me. It is a little tough to get used to at first because there's so much surface area you have to work with. I really think it's best for melee. Shooting, not so much, because if you want to instantly shoot someone while you're turning around, you might be a little inaccurate and you might hit like a wrong side of the trackpad. In fact, it might not be like straight perfect or aligned perfectly. But meleeing, I think, is completely fine, and it's worked out pretty well for certain scenarios. So this second playtest, guys, is another controller configuration. This time I'm actually using a mouse style of input for the right trackpad instead of a joystick. And I am actually using motion control this time, which is also a mouse style of input. So it works a lot differently, and as you can see this time the cursor actually goes away from me. And I actually think it works a lot better for shooting, in my opinion. And not to mention, well, primarily because you get better aiming since the cursor can move out more. I think it also helps locking on to enemies that are further a lot easier. So depending on your, I guess, style of choice, you can switch between these two. I personally like the other configuration where I had the outer rim functions, just because it's kind of like my first time trying Hotline on the controller, and so I thought that was pretty fun. But depending on how you like it, I think this trackpad style also works extremely well. My issues with it are that I'm just not used to moving the cursor in Hotline a lot faster with the trackpad, and so it's kind of iffy aiming a bit. But honestly, it works, and if you guys want to try it, obviously it'll be down in the link below. So overall, I like both control schemes for each of their individual strengths. I think another cool thing you could do with Hotline and the Steam controller is that since the control scheme is relatively user-friendly and you don't really need the face buttons a lot, and arguably you don't even need the left thumbstick, you could actually cater to maybe a lefty who prefers his controls reversed. So you could put the movement on the right trackpad, you can put the aiming on the left trackpad, hitting or attacking on the left trigger, and aiming with or zooming in with the right trigger. I guess just something someone could do. So that's pretty much it for me, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.